Hi, my name is Bhargav. I am the head of care department, Anil Nair classes. Today in this video, let us know something about computer awareness. In continuation with the first part, wherein I introduced about computers and their history and all, this is a little bit advanced about how the shortcuts are useful in doing the tasks with a great care and ease in different softwares. Before we enter into the actual session, let me tell you that this particular video is intended and is much more useful to those aspirants or the candidates who are looking for bank POs and clerks exams. Keeping in view the experience and also to make it easy for the aspirants to target to the point, let us discuss today about the shortcuts and different components of MS Office. The Microsoft Office is a packaged application software that contains a lot of tools that are useful for the users to do different activities. Previously, when Microsoft Office was released in the first initial versions, it was a limited package with limited applications like MS Word, MS Excel, Access, etc. But as the days passed by and the advancement in softwares came, Microsoft has developed several other tools and integrated them into one single package called MS Office. So now, if you look at the latest MS Office, there are the following different applications in that: MS Access, Excel, Infopath, Link, OneNote, Outlook, PowerPoint, Project, Publisher, SharePoint, Visio, and Word. Now let us know what are these different MS Office components and what they do. What are the facilities or functionalities they provide us. First comes the MS Access. Access is a database system. In fact, it was one of the oldest database systems that maintains the data in a tabular form with relationships that can be stored, retrieved, and also displayed to the end user. Access is different from the other relational databases in a way that it has its own form system. So if you are using Access, you can build forms in MS Access without having to use a third-party development tool and do all the data entry, data reporting, data retrieval kind of activities. The next one is the Excel. Excel is a spreadsheet applications that basically does all the different calculations, displays graphs, and with integration of macros, you can do enormously big calculations. So Excel sheet is an application which a small company can actually use for all its payroll, data maintenance, employee maintenance, and leave application maintenance, and for n number of such kind of small activities. A company without having the need to go for a kind of ERP application, they can simply use Excel sheet. So just with an Excel application, they can build macros and maintain all these different things. They can generate pay slips, maintain the payrolls, maintain the invoices, stocks, everything in just an Excel sheet. The next one is the Infopath. Infopath is a designer tool wherein you build electronic applications and forms to submit the data. The data is stored in XML format and the display is similar to that of a DHTML format, a dynamic HTML. So Infopath is basically used by those companies which do form designing basically. It's not meant for individual users who are using it at a personal level because they don't really need to use this unless they are developing some smaller applications and showing designs to their customers. The next one is Link. Link is nothing but a communication software, or we can just call it as a messenger. So it's similar to your Gtalk or WhatsApp or Yahoo Messenger kind of softwares, but a link uses the database that is integrated within the corporate office, or in other words, link is not used in the similar grounds as on Microsoft Messenger or Yahoo Messenger or Gtalk or like that. but it is used within a corporate company to communicate between their employees. So it is installed and used within a corporate network. So basically it takes data from the, let us say, SharePoint database or their own internal database and lets the users log in and communicate with each other. OneNote is a kind of similar to a notepad kind of an application wherein the notes that you write is similar to what you scribble in your notepad. So you can draw images, you can write something and save it. But the extended facility in OneNote is that whatever you write and draw images there in the OneNote, you can directly share it with the other users. So OneNote will give you the facility where you can share the notes or the images that you put inside it. Other users maybe within the same network, like for example, if you are in a corporate company and you attended a meeting, you scribbled something on your notes that you want to share it with others. So using OneNote, you can scribble it and then simply come back and share it with others without having to send an email or write it back in a different application or like MS Word or something and then share it. But one thing here is the notes is an unstructured notes. It appears as if what you have written or how you have written. It doesn't format itself. And then comes Outlook. Outlook is a personal manager. Usually you see Outlook being used again in corporate offices and international banks, wherein the communication between the employees of the organization is done through this personal manager. In general, wherever we see, Outlook is basically used for sending emails, maintaining contacts, and maybe to set the meetings in their calendars. In some extended companies, they also use it to write notes and build the tasks. The next beautiful application or a component of MS Office is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a tool where you build presentations with a lot of effects. So you can design with a lot of backgrounds, musics, animations, movements, transitions and a lot of other effects, a very beautiful presentation, and then export it into a movie and show it in a meeting or to the other users wherever you want to show it and however you want to show it. Then comes the MS Project, which is a project management tool. In this project management tool, again, this tool is used extensively in organizations very huge that have a lot of big projects and they want to manage the tasks using a specific management tool. So here this used for building tasks, assigning resources to the tasks, managing the cost for each of the task and the resource so that they can come up with timelines and budgets. Then comes Publisher. Publisher is a layout designing tool. You can also publish the layout that you have designed. So it is majorly used by the web designers wherein they can build different web designs and then publish it to the public for selection and then build an application over it. Next comes SharePoint. Though SharePoint has extensive utility, because of the context, I am limiting it to its high level usage, which is like containing the data and sharing it among the other applications, mostly with the other components of MS Office, I would say. Now comes Visio. This is a beautiful tool that Microsoft Office has integrated with MS Office. It is just a graphical interface where a user can do a lot of designing work. This application is basically used by graphic designers and architects, apart from their other regular tools, to build a lot of blueprints. The Visio has a lot of inbuilt pre-structured designs that you can use to generate blueprints. These blueprints could be related to anything, a building design, an application design, or even a web page design. So using Visio, you can create a lot of designs and publish them again to the world where you can showcase your designs. Now comes the tool that every one of us use in our daily life, which is MS Word. MS Word is a word processor tool that has a lot of brain within it. You know why? You write a mistake, it will underline that in red and show that you did a spelling mistake. You write a grammatical mistake, it will underline that and show that there is a grammatical mistake in this sentence. Please correct it. You write it from left or from right, from top or from bottom, it will automatically rearrange the whole text, format it and give it to you in a very beautiful output. MS Word emphasizes on composition and proofing. So when I say composition, it is about the layout, how you design the layout, how you want to display the content that you have written, all these things. When it comes to proofing, it's about spelling mistakes and grammar correction. All these components put together as an MS Office package can be used by the end users for all their different tasks with a minimal manual activity. However, to make the ease of use much more sophisticated and easy, MS Office has come out with shortcuts. So what is a shortcut? A shortcut is something that will serve the purpose or that will actually do a task that you might need to perform with a lot of effort otherwise. Let us look at some MS Office shortcuts which will give you a better idea of what I am telling you. Some of them I am showing in this slide talk about the general shortcuts rather than just limited to MS Office. So let us say you are working with multiple windows opened at a time in your system. If you want to move from one active window to another window, you simply say Alt Tab rather than dragging your mouse all the way down to the taskbar and selecting the other window, opening it. Alt Tab is the simplest way to do it. Then comes the Alt Shift Tab, which is nothing but doing it the reverse way. Let us say there are 4 windows. I'll name the first window as 1, second window as 2, third window as 3 and fourth as 4. Now if I say Alt Tab once, it will move from window 1 to window 2, again Alt Tab, window 2 to window 3, again Alt Tab, window 3 to window 4 and so on. Now if I say Alt Shift Tab, it will come back. So from window 4 to window 3, again Alt Shift Tab, window 3 to window 2 and so on. Now if there are too many windows open and system is getting slow, you want to close some of the windows, or rather you have opened some window temporarily and you don't need it anymore, you just say Control F4 or Control W going into that window. So if you see this, it will close the active window. What is an active window? An active window is the window on which you are actually performing the task right now. So even if there are 10 different windows open, when I say window, it is an instance of an application that you are using on your system. So if there are 10 different windows open, if you say Control F4 or Control W, the window which is active or the window on which you are actively performing the task right now will get closed. So beware of closing a window with using this shortcut, that you are closing the right window. Now comes Alt F5 or Control F10. Alt F5 is a shortcut that is used to restore the size of a window once it is maximized, wherein Control F10 is a toggle between maximizing and restoring a window. So what is the purpose of resizing the application? Let us say you are using again 10 different tabs and you want to compare something between 2 different windows. Then you need to resize these windows to fit in the same screen so that you can easily compare it looking at them right and left. So one window is on the left side and the other window is on the right side, both fitting or sharing the exact screen size, and you are going to compare from each other. So for that purpose, this Control F10 and Alt F5 will be used. Then comes the space bar. So let us say you are traveling through a browser based application where there are a lot of controls in that. So just by pressing a space bar, instead of dragging the mouse the whole way down to the save or cancel button, which are just like an example of the controls, you can just press the space bar when the control is on that button. Pressing a space bar will execute the action behind that button. Well, these shortcuts, what I am telling now, except some of them, the rest of them are all rudimentary right now, because these shortcuts were invented or designed during those days when mouse was not one of the input devices. There used to be a keyboard but not a mouse. So when the mouse was not there, it wasn't easy to perform lot of actions with just the keyboard. Probably users would feel it easy to use a mouse rather than these shortcuts. So these are the general shortcuts, as I said, became rudimentary after the invention of mouse. But there are few other shortcuts that we are going to discuss in the coming slides that are very important and still extensively used in our daily life. Let us see some of those action shortcuts that we use in our daily life. And again, these shortcut keys I am talking about are meant for MS Office, or putting it in a different way, these shortcut keys will surely apply in MS Office. In other applications, some of the applications, yes, these shortcuts will still work there, but some of the applications these don't, because every application has their own shortcuts and simpler ways to perform their activities. Some of these actions have become worldwide so renowned that everyone started using the same shortcuts to perform the same kind of activity in the other applications too. So for example, let us see the few shortcuts that we are seeing on the screen. Control S, Control A, Control C, Control V, Control Z, Control Y. Many of these shortcuts that you are looking at here are useful in many applications wherever you go. So Control S will save the data. So anywhere you press Control S, it will save the data. So it has become a universally accepted shortcut. Similar way, Control A, it selects the whole active content. It is also same in almost every application. Control C copies it to the clipboard. Control V pastes it from the clipboard. So even these two, you can see that almost every application uses the same shortcut. Control Z undoes the last action and Control Y redoes the last action. Please note, Control Z and Control Y work only when it is possible. Some cases they don't work. That is the reason I mentioned it. It will undo the last action if possible, and it redo the last action if possible. Let us go to some function keys with respect to MS Office again. Please remember, many of these function keys or the shortcut keys, as I told earlier, are applicable to many of the applications because they are universally accepted, but not every one of them. So continuing with that, F1, the function key 1 will open the application help. So F2 will enable the edit feature, especially in MS Excel. F3 displays the insert function where you want to insert a particular text again in MS Excel. F4 repeats the last command or function. So whatever you have performed just before, if you press F4, it will repeat again. Again, this is best used in MS Excel. F5 displays the go to dialog box. So this is applicable in Excel and also MS Word. F6 will switch between task panes of the active window. Continuing with the function keys, F7 displays the spell check dialog box. Again, it's open for MS Word and also Excel. And then F8 is like extending a selection. It's similar to holding a shift button and then selecting the whole area. And if you understand from what I'm saying, it is extensively good for MS Excel. And again, the next one, which is good for MS Excel, is F9. So let us say if there are 10 or 11 worksheets in a workbook and there are a lot of calculations that happen in that workbook. Naturally what happens is, unless you specifically mention that the calculation should not happen dynamically, every calculation in an Excel sheet will happen as soon as you change the data. But just to be sure that the data calculation happened and the sheet that you are looking at is up to date, you can press F9, which will redo all the calculations and will show the up-to-date data. Then comes the F10, which turns the tips on and off. Then comes F11, creates a chart for the current data range selected. So you create a data, let us say name and age in 2 columns, and enter some different names and different ages in like 10 rows or 20 rows. Select the whole data and then click F11. It will simply create a chart and show you a report kind of a thing for the data that you have selected. Now comes F12. F12 is a save as dialog box. What is save as? When you say save, it will save the document or the sheet that you are working on onto the same name into the same component library. But if you want to save the content that you are writing in a different format, let us say example of MS Word, if you just say save, it will save the Word in the latest version or in the version that you are working on. If you want to save the Word in a different version, like a rich text format, RTF, or you want to save that content as a HTML page or an XML, then you use this F12 button, let the save as dialog box appear, and then select the drop down, choose the right option that you want to save the document into, and then give the name and save it. That's how F12 works. With this, I'll now conclude the shortcuts session. There are a lot of other shortcuts that every one of you need to know going forward, but they are like application specific. So because this video is intended towards the bank exam aspirants, a bank application, when you join the banks, you have different applications that you need to use in the banks, and all those applications will have their own shortcut keys and function key definitions. So they will train you anyway on those function keys and shortcuts, but otherwise if you are using any other general application, you would need to remember these shortcut keys. Remember one thing, the banks want to understand whether you know what a shortcut key means and whether you know how it functions and whether you know how to use it. So that is the reason they'll ask you questions from these shortcut keys and function keys, so that it will be easy for them to train you on their applications. With this, I conclude my session on shortcut keys and wish you all a very best. Thank you.